Yes, Sus. Okay.
In the repair shop today, Brenton grapples with the minutiae of an unfinished passion project.
Proving a little tricky. Whenever I had anything like this to do at home, I used to get my children to do it because they've got such small fingers.
While Kirsten tackles a tribute to a fearless fly fisher.
I've never made a salmon, so that's going to be interesting. Trying to work out a plan for getting that beautiful iridescent finish.
First, Beth Haine from Gwynedd has brought along 2 relics of a bygone era for the attention of horologist Steve Fletcher and master of metal, Dominic Chinea.
It's going to be good.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, you OK?
Very well, thanks.
Come on, what's in the box?
So in here we have got 2 old oil lamps from horse-drawn hearses.
Right.
So these were made in about the 1830s, we think.
So did I hear you right? You said these came from a hearse?
From a hearse,
How
yeah.
on earth did you get hold of them then?
So my grandfather's family business was funeral directors.
Okay.
So it started in 1838, and they would have been attached to the hearses to light the way for the funeral
Oh, my
processions.
goodness. So they would have been fixed to the side of the
They would have been
carriage.
fixed to the sides, yeah, and they would have been what actually lit the way for the carriages.
So they're headlights?
They are headlights.
A pair
and
of
you can see
headlights.
they've got the old red glass, which would have been the, the backlights and
Oh,
the front
goodness.
lights.
Just
Yeah.
a brake light, that's
the
it.
brake light. Yeah.
When were they last used?
We think probably just before the Second World War.
OK.
So the horses were retired in the war because they were taken out of the towns, the fear that they'd be killed during the war for safety.
OK.
And then after the war, they just decided never to bring them back into use.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So was that the end of the family business after the war? What happened there?
So it carried on through to my grandfather, Charles Rayson. Everyone knew him by Ray. And then there was talk of whether my father would take it on as his own, but he decided not to. And so it then got passed on to other hands, and that was the end of the family business.
So how did they get into this state?
My grandpa converted them from the oil to electric use. And they were put on the outside of their house, and I think the weather and the rain and everything just saw them rust. And when my grandfather passed, they passed on to my dad, and then he put them in storage, not really sure what to do with them for some time.
Right.
Yeah.
Did you ever get to meet your granddad?
I did. He was such a sort of gentle but very quiet guy. He did pass when I was quite young, though, so I never felt like I got to know him particularly well, which is, yeah, a little sad.
That's a shame. If we're able to get them working again, where are they going to end up?
So we live in a cottage in North Wales, and my dad has this very romantic idea of them being on the sort of driveway side of the house, and sort of on misty, cold winter evenings in Wales. He could light them for people arriving when we have friends come and stay.
What a romantic vision that is.
It is. He's an old romantic, my dad.
Is he?
Is, yeah. Which is why getting these done would just be epic, because it's not just an old thing, it's part of the family history as well, so...
I can completely understand, I guess, why you wanted to bring these in.
Yeah.
We've certainly got our work cut out, haven't we?
Yes.
Yeah.
You do, I'm afraid.
So you didn't find any of the old equipment that went with them, like the oil stuff?
No.
That'd be too easy, Steve. You
I know.
can't- come on.
I was just hoping
There's
the
nothing
brain there
else in
might
the
be
box.
something.
No, unfortunately, all I have is this old bit of electric cable. So, no, this is as they are. Yeah,
Okay.
unfortunately.
We will do our best. but
Yeah.
they're in safe hands, so
Awesome.
yeah, we'll look
Thank you
after
so
them.
much, guys. Thank you.
See you later.
Bye-bye now.
These lamps haven't been used in that old oil format for about 100 years. So to have them burning as oil lamps would be a really incredible feat. And it would mean keeping the legacy alive, which is amazing, and prolonging it into the future as well.
Beth's poor oil lamps. These have definitely seen better days. Look at that. Years of layers of black paint. Underneath all of that is hiding, unfortunately, quite a lot of rust. So these are definitely going to need... The main body is made of steel. It's definitely going to need to be sandblasted to remove all of that rust. But it's not just a cosmetic job. Beth wants these to go back as they used to be, running on oil again. So that does mean that I'm going to have to take this bottom out and remove all of the mains-powered sort of light bulb conversion. Ah, there we go. Right, so that is the electric conversion. Piece of wood shoved in the end of the tube and then the bulb fitted on the end. Problem is, now that's removed, I don't think these were oil. There's nowhere for the mechanism to fit. I wonder if these were candle. But I just don't know. As the candle burns down, the flame would obviously disappear down this tube. When I take these into Steve, I'm sure he'll have a solution.
Next to arrive at the barn is Claire Funge from Devon. She's entrusting silversmith Brenton West with a personal project that fell by the wayside.
Hello there.
Hello.
How you doing?
All right, thank you.
And what have we got in that box?
Well, you've got a copper box for you that was made by my mum, Christine, when she was 21 years old, and it's never been quite finished, and it's always been a dream of hers to get it finished. She went to silversmithing classes, evening classes, just for pleasure.
Yep.
She went for just over a year, and this was her second piece. She made a beautiful copper dish that
Yeah.
still sits in the house,
Yeah.
and she got this far with the box, and then she met my dad.
Okay.
And suddenly the silversmithing classes took a little bit more of a back seat.
Yeah.
She always intended to go back and finish them off, and the intention was to turn it into something that she could put on display. She's never put it on display because it's been in this state.
Yeah.
So it's always lived in a drawer, and 61 years later, we'd really like to get it
61 years later.
completed.
It's a lot of work gone into that, I can see. And then your dad came along and spoiled it all.
Well, Mum always says he was worth it, so, you know.
Oh, I see. That's what it's all about. So, Mum, what type of person is she?
She's very creative, but very, very modest about her achievements. She's always done an enormous amount of craft work, tapestries, knitting, needlework, embroidery, all sorts. You know, she raised the family after she got married, and so she sidelined this kind of thing. She's one of those people that's always put their own needs after everybody else's.
Yeah.
And so, while she's always completed every other project that she's done, this was always one that eluded her. So, yeah, it's always been a bit of a bugbear, a disappointment.
Why have you brought this in now? Because it's sat in the drawer for quite a long time.
Well, Mum's 84 now, and time is limited. She has a lot of health issues, mobility issues, memory issues. There's no way that she can go out to classes any longer and finish it. She talks about the vision she had for it a lot. I know that she will be amazed, you know, to see her vision realised, really.
What is that vision? What's the vision?
She would like to have finished it with hinges, and
Okay.
her intention was to always have an amethyst in the top, because that was favourite colour.
Yeah.
Highly polished jewellery box, really.
And the inside, does she want, like...
Lined, I think, you know,
Okay.
some kind of lining. I'm so proud of her achievements, you
Yeah.
know. It would just be so lovely to be able to give her something back.
Yeah.
And we know that this is probably the last opportunity to do that.
Yeah. That is quite a big responsibility for you.
I understand what's at stake here. I'll make that lovely for your mum.
Thank you so much.
Claire, thank you for bringing this in. And Brenton, I'm sure, is going to make sure your mum's dream comes true.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
Bye-bye.
You take
Bye-bye.
care now.
She's been the absolute best mum I could have ever, you know, wished for. So I'd like to be able to give her something back that she really will be thrilled with. She will. She will absolutely love it. You know, it feels like, just feels like something that I can do for her that I know she will appreciate hugely, and it'll make her so happy. Sorry.
Wow.
Good?
A lot of work there. For an evening class, that's really good. I've got to put an amethyst in the top, but putting a hinge on this curved edge is going to be difficult.
Right.
And this was always meant to be a jewellery box. So if I put a soft material inside, that will protect any precious items. But it's going to look really nice when it's done.
That's what I like to wear.
First, I always like to get to know an item, and the best way to do that is to give it a good polish, and I get to know all of its little nooks and crannies and see what it will look like in the end. Claire's mum, Christine, it was absolutely amazing to make this. The beautiful shiny copper and her artwork that she's done on the lid of the box. And once the whole lot is polished, it will look like sort of rays of sunshine coming out of this flower in the middle. It's got over 60 years of tarnish on it. However, the copper is beginning to shine really nicely. And I know that if I put lots and lots of effort into this, Claire's going to be stunned. And I'm really looking forward to seeing the expression on her face when she sees this.
In the outdoor workshop, Dom is firing on all cylinders to rid the pair of Victorian hearse lamps of their decades of rust.
This clever machine is a sandblaster. It uses air under quite high pressure, blasts very small particles of aluminium oxide through a nozzle into the lanterns. It just removes everything that I don't want, leaves me with a nice clean metal finish. So once I'm finished in here, I'll know exactly what I'm working with. You can see on this top piece, as I'm blasting it, it's just removing the actual metal and leaving me with a hole. This is the downside of sandblasting. It doesn't take any prisoners. Sandblasting the lanterns has removed all the rust. The worst bit of damage is this little hat on the top. I would love to be able to repair this original piece, but it is just too far gone. So my solution was to find a sheet of metal in exactly the same gauge, the same thickness as the original, and I've just replicated it and made an exact copy. This original one is soldered on, so I'm going to heat that up, release that soldered joint and remove that, and then reinstall my new one, and you'll never know the difference. It. My new one is going to fit exactly where the last one came off. Just going to use this piece of wire to hold it in position. Ready to solder that in place. Okay, that's all the soldering done. That's actually gone really, really well. Great. Once that's painted, you will never know that that's been replaced.
All right, Dom.
Steve, you okay?
Yeah, these are looking good.
Whilst I've had these on the bench, I don't think they're oil lamps.
Yeah, well, I've been doing some research as well. It's a candle, but it's sprung-loaded so that as it burns down, the candle is pushed up still.
So that's why that's got a little stop on the top, so it holds the top of the candle, so the wick just sticks out.
Yeah.
Love it.
So I need to make a couple of springs.
Perfect.
So you can just push the candle down in.
And then as it burns, I love it.
Yeah.
There we go. Be brilliant. And once you've finished all of that, if you just run them back over, I've got some high temperature black paint, they'll be perfect.
Oh, yeah. Right. I'm just going to pop this wire through a little hole that I've made in this brass rod. Just bend that over. That should stay there as I wind it on now. Just making sure that I bend this on nice and evenly. So when it comes off, it'll make a lovely even spring. There is a lot of power now all bound up in that spring. There we go. Right, let's see if that's worked. So it's just a matter of stretching this out now. Right, hopefully that's the right diameter. that actually works a treat. So the little unit inside here holds the top of the candle. When the candle burns, this will get forced up. That's worked really well. I just need to make another one for the other candle.
Next at the barn is Michael Wilson from West Lothian. He's brought along a piece of family history that holds some idyllic childhood memories.
Hello.
Hello. Hi there. Hi there. Pleased to meet you.
You too.
Who's this little guy? This is my granda, Arthur Willman.
Right, OK.
My nana commissioned someone to make this statue. I reckon it was the very early 1960s as a present to my grandfather to commemorate a very big moment in my grandfather's life, his best fishing day.
Wow.
And one that's meant a lot to me growing up.
I mean, they're huge fish, so it must have
Yeah.
been quite a proud moment.
Is that salmon that he's
It
holding?
is, yes. Well,
Yeah.
unfortunately, it's just one salmon. There should be two.
OK.
But yes, this little beauty, I believe, was 22 pounds, and the one on the other side was 16, 17 pounds.
That's a lot of salmon.
I don't know how it was broken. All I know is when I look at it, I see my grandfather. Really, one of my earliest memories is 3, 4 years of age, going to my grandfather's house, and this would sit on a sideboard, and there was the matching photograph that it was made out of, and I would just stand there and look at it. And even though I knew the story, I would say, "Granda, tell me again how you caught those 2 salmon," and he would just retell the story to me. So.
He was probably delighted, wasn't he?
Oh, he's delighted. And do you know what? When I think about it, I think he just embellished it.
I can imagine that.
One of the things I remember well was there was part of when he caught the bigger salmon, there was a tree that had breached the river, and the fish was going downstream, and he was going to lose the fish. So he had to jump into the river to then get round the tree to then follow the fish down, which he did. And this is part of the story that I loved. And I kept tell me about the time he jumped into the river to Granda. So it was, it was a lovely story.
Yeah.
And he told it very well.
Did you fish with him?
I did, yes.
Yeah.
Sunday afternoon, he would collect me and we would go away for a few hours. We had a caravan in the Republic of Ireland, and he's taken me away for a weekend's fishing. Not fishing for salmon, I hasten to add, but fishing for wild brown trout. And I've obviously loved it from the off. And I mean, I just spent so many weekends with him.
Lovely.
It was lovely, yeah.
Oh, amazing. He
Loved
must
it.
have been very fond of you as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely was. I know he was very proud of me. Sporting achievements and stuff like that. My grandfather, sadly, he died when I was 18. I was away playing golf for my country. And I know how much he thought of me because he was already in the hospice at this stage. And yet, the day I left, he made such a special effort to make sure that I was okay about it and I could leave. And literally, my mum told me afterwards that once I left the room, I mean, it was downhill very quickly thereafter. So, yeah, he was exceptionally proud of me. And, I had a lot of time for him. So, yeah, very, very special bit of my life, really. Yeah.
Is it just the fish that's missing, or is there any other damage that you know of?
I think it's just the fish that's missing in terms of damage, but if there's anything that you feel could be freshened up, that would be lovely to just see it in its original glory again.
Yeah,
It'd be
absolutely.
fantastic.
Thank you so much for bringing this in. I really look forward to starting.
Not at all. Thank you very much.
Cheers. Bye-bye.
There's a salmon missing, but it's more than that. It's a missing part of my childhood, and I think he would have just loved the idea that I've gone and done something about it, and I will make sure the stories that he told me will be followed through to my children, and they will look after that statue with an equal amount of pride.
I was really itching to have a look close up at this statue. Looking at the base, it actually says Grandad. That's really sweet. So it's Grandad Arthur with his, well, one of his salmon. The first thing to do is to clean the surface. I've then got to tackle making up this fish. I've got some warm water and a cotton wool swab, and I'm going to just make sure that this is a fired-on glaze and that I can't do any damage. This might seem strange. I'm getting quite a smoky smell. I'm sure it's from an open fire, and the swab is showing that it is quite dirty, so it would be lovely to have quite a transformation. I haven't come across any nasty surprises, so I'm going to make a start on the face and hopefully get it looking really bright and clean.
Thanks to Brenton's efforts, the copper jewellery box is already gleaming.
Looking absolutely fabulous, I think.
He can now turn to faithfully completing the work of its talented original maker.
Because the front and the back are bowed, I can't put a hinge on either side. If I did, the centre would bind and the box wouldn't open. So I have to put a large hinge in the middle. And what I've got is a brass hinge, which I'm going to attach to the back of the box with little tiny screws, as Christine has set a precedent using screws with this motif. Now, this is a bit ugly, but if I cut this down, I think it'll look quite delicate. So my hinge is cut now, and I now need to drill some holes in the hinge and attach it to the box. I've got the box lined up how I want it to be, and I want this to stay in position, so I'm going to tape it together. And I'm now going to put some nuts on these screws and see if the hinge works or not. Well, these are really, really fiddly because they're 2mm screws, and I've got big fat fingers, so this is quite hard to do. Proving a little tricky. Whenever I had anything like this to do at home, I used to get my children to do it because they've got such small fingers. It's functional now, which is fantastic. I've got to give this brass hinge a good polish, and then I can make the liner for it. So I've just cut out the shapes for my lining. I've got some lovely amethyst-coloured felt, and I'm going to stick that to the card, cut round the edge, and then fit it into the box. This one goes in first, and that fits in there really well. It looks really good. I'm really pleased with this. I've got to do a piece for the top. I cannot stick that in until I've set the stone in the decorative motif at the top. So I will cut it, but I'll stick it right at the end.
Steve's handiwork on the hearse lamps is complete, and all that remains is for Dom to restore their 19th century splendour.
I have got a nice new can of glossed black paint, and I cannot wait to get this put on here. Look at that. These are just so typically Victorian. I'm really picturing that beautiful horse-drawn carriage, pristine, glossy black paintwork. This is the best part of any restoration, is the paint. It's when things start to come to life. These lamps have got a huge amount of family history with Beth. I really hope that the work that Steve and I have done does them justice. Oh, these are going to look good.
Despite being repurposed for modern times, these Victorian mementos of a business passed down the generations were badly rusting and beyond use.
Are we ready for the candles? Shall I put one in?
Get them in, definitely. Yeah, they're ready to go.
Beth hopes that the hearse lamps that remind her of her grandfather can now guide visitors to her family's home.
Since leaving the lamps here, I feel like we've talked a lot more about the family history and been looking through old photos and talking a lot more about my grandparents, which has been really lovely, actually. I just really can't imagine how they're going to be fixed because they were in such a bad way when I handed them over. So I'm so excited to see them.
Beth, hey. So nice to see you again.
Lovely to see you guys as well. How are you both?
Very good, very good.
Thank you.
Good.
How are you, more importantly?
I'm so excited.
Oh,
Yeah.
glad to hear it. We're both quite excited as well, aren't we?
Yeah, and slightly nervous.
Oh, that makes me nervous too.
Oh, I can't wait to show you.
I know. It's
Oh. Come on, Steve.
Oh my God. That is absolutely incredible. Oh my God, I'm shaking. That is absolutely phenomenal. I cannot believe it. I mean, how? They just look absolutely amazing. You guys are geniuses.
Hopefully that's more like what your granddad would remember them like.
Yeah, I think
How they would
so.
have been on that carriage.
Yeah. And what's amazing though is they still look like they've got a bit of patina and they're kind of old at the same time, but looking in such amazing condition. I mean, that balance you found is just phenomenal.
If you look inside...
Have you got them working in their old way?
They were never an oil lamp.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh my God, no way!
Yeah, they were built and designed as a candle lamp.
As a candle. That is absolutely fascinating.
So we've made up the new mechanism to drive the candle up as it burns.
It's very clever. There's a spring in there that Steve's made, and as the candle burns down, the spring pushes them
up. Oh my God, that's amazing.
Would you like to light them now?
Oh, I would love to light them now, if that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm shaking. I mean, that's pretty magical, isn't it?
That is so good.
That is spectacular. I can't wait to show my dad. He is going to be blown away.
I could just imagine those on the side of a carriage,
Yeah.
just trundling along that Victorian high street. Just,
It is so gothic, isn't it?
Isn't it
It's
amazing?
So, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to look brilliant outside your house.
On a misty winter night in Wales, I can imagine those sort of lighting the way as people come up to the house.
See these glowing from
Yeah.
far away.
Oh, you're setting such a great picture.
Well, they are yours to take away.
Amazing. Thank you so much, guys.
You're welcome. Thank you. I'll tell you what, should we grab one each? If you go to the door for us.
Amazing. I think the lamps, when they're up on the house in Wales, would definitely be a talking point. I mean, they're so beautiful. Everyone's going to be fascinated by them. And it would be great, because I'm sure it'll instigate conversations of family and the past and my grandparents, which will be really lovely. I'm just blown away. I'm totally blown away.
As a tribute to one grandfather goes home, another is ready for Kirsten's ceramic skills to chart new waters.
Michael's grandfather's statue has cleaned up really beautifully, and you can really see those lovely sort of greens and browns and reds coming through. And I don't think Michael's ever seen it look like this. Now I'm going to try and tackle making up the slightly smaller salmon. I've got a two-part epoxy modelling material here, and that's what I'm going to use to make the fish shape. I've never made a salmon, so that's going to be interesting. I'm quite lucky that the tail is still intact. That gives me a good base to start attaching this onto. Looking at this, it does make me think my dad and I used to try and fish in the canal and we never caught anything, so just plastic buckets and... I'm just going to keep trying to refine the shape of this, and meanwhile trying to work out a plan for getting that beautiful iridescent finish, and I think it could be quite tricky. But I think I'm starting to get the shape now.
Whilst I've been modelling up this salmon, I've been trying to think how I'm going to match this fishy colour. Unusually for me, where I can go straight to the colour, pretty much I sort of think, yeah, it needs this, this and this. With this one, I'm thinking, I'm not quite sure where I'm going with the colour, so it's going to be a little bit experimental. Panic over. I feel like I'm starting to get the feel of the painting. Looking at the other one, I can see that there's lots of lines going down, so I'm trying to recreate that. And I've got a lot of colours in here. I've got ochres and browns and oranges. I'm just going to build it up slowly, bit by bit. I don't want to rush it.
How's it going then?
Going well, thank you.
Yeah? The fish looks good though, doesn't it?
I am quietly pleased with that. It's going to really, really knock him sideways, I hope, in a good way.
Make an impact. See, that's all that's worth. I can't wait for him to see it.
Thank you.
Nice one.
Brenton has one last piece of unfinished business on the copper box. The gemstone, in Christine's favourite colour.
Richard, our resident goldsmith, had some amethysts reclaimed from old jewellery. This one nearly fitted, and I've just had to grind this copper ring, which is called a bezel. The copper is sticking up like that, and I'm going to fold the copper over the stone all the way around to stop that falling out. That's set really nicely into its copper setting. I've just got to screw this onto the box now and see what it looks like. I'm hoping that Claire is going to be bowled over by it and just staggered by her mother's artistic ability.
After its talented maker devoted herself to her family, this exquisite box lay incomplete and tarnishing in a drawer for over 60 years. Christine's daughter Claire has returned to collect her 84-year-old mum's lovingly made creation.
It really does feel like an important moment, and I feel very much that I'm doing it for Mum and something that she really wants to happen.
That looks lovely.
Does, doesn't it?
Very shiny.
I'm really hoping that Brenton's managed to achieve the vision that she had for it, which I know is a tall order, but fingers crossed.
Hello, Claire.
Hello.
How are you?
All right, thank you.
Nice to have you back.
It's It's great to be here.
Did you miss your box?
Mum missed the box.
Did she?
Yeah, Mum's been talking about the box, and every time she talks about it, she talks about something new that I didn't know. She was telling me how she used to have to get 3 buses after work to go to the night school classes to do it. So, you know, the dedication that she put into it at the time, really.
Well, 60 years in the making. I think it's time, don't you?
I'd love to. Oh, my goodness. That's incredible. It's beautiful, and it's got an amethyst on the top.
That's what you said.
It looks so different. That is amazing. And purple lined as well. And beautifully hinged. That is just incredible. Absolutely stunning. I can't tell you how much this is going to mean to her. It really is. It's going to mean so much to her, so much to her. She's waited so long for this. Yeah, it's really beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's a pleasure.
When you're 84 and not really able to leave the house very much, other things take on a significance. She'll be so thrilled to see it completed.
Good.
It's got a real story to it now, hasn't it? I said it's a tale of 2 craftspeople. You know, it's been on a journey of 60 years, and you've really completed her vision. That's amazing.
Whereabouts do you think that the box is going to go?
Definitely on display in the lounge, so that it can be a talking point when people come round.
Yeah. Claire, thank you for bringing your mum's box. I've really enjoyed making it look lovely for your mum.
Oh, well, you've done an amazing job. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye now.
Bye. The box is a huge testament to Mum's creative abilities. But this is a real gift for her, to be able to display it, to be able to talk about it. As a family, we've always been so proud of her talents, and it's lovely that she's going to be proud of this one too now.
On her project, Kirsten's diligent approach to painting has paid off.
That's the pattern and the colour blocked in.
But there's still an important job to do.
To recreate the glaze, I'm going to mix up the iridescent powders with an acrylic gloss, so it's going to give it that high shine. I don't want to cover the whole thing. It has to be quite subtle, little bits glinting here and there. This sort of fishy iridescence was the one part of this restoration that was worrying me. It's not something I've ever really had to do, but I think it's coming up quite successfully. And I'm looking forward to showing it to Michael.
The features of this proud fisherman's portrait statuette were hidden under layers of grime. But above all, he had lost half of his greatest catch.
You've done it again, haven't you? That looks amazing.
Thank you.
Michael has returned to collect his memento of his devoted granddad and their halcyon lakeside days.
My emotions are all over the place. It's more than a statue. It reminds me a lot about the childhood, a lot of memories, and a lot of time that I spent with somebody that I love very much. It just means an awful lot to me.
Hello.
Good afternoon.
How you doing? You all right?
Very well, thanks.
Lovely to see you.
How you feeling?
Very nervous.
Nervous? You seem quite cool and calm and collected.
No. I'm hiding it well then. It's like a cross between, I think, driving test or my wedding day.
Oh, no.
Really? That nervous?
My grandfather, besides my parents, this was the most important man in my life.
Yeah.
Very excited to see what's underneath.
There's a lot wrapped up in this then, isn't there?
Yeah.
Okay. You ready?
I am.
Kirsten?
Wow. my word. Oh, it's brilliant. 2 fish. Fantastic. You've done such a great job. The colours. Look at the bag. Oh. Was the bag always green?
Yes, yeah. I've just cleaned it.
Wow. I'm not sure it's ever looked so good. It's phenomenal. Oh, it's fantastic. Just absolutely superb.
Where does it take you to when you look at that?
Just me being back, being a boy. We had just the most amazing relationship.
Yeah.
When you're fly fishing, casting,
Yeah.
and then speaking. I mean, really, there's only 2 things that are going on.
Yeah.
And so, you know, hours and hours and hours of in somebody's company,
Yeah.
you're going to get to know that person very, very well.
So all those memories wrapped up in that.
Just all memories.
So what are you going to do with it now? It's going to go back on the mantelpiece?
It's going to go pride of place in the kitchen. And you enter the kitchen and you will see it as you...
Straight away?
Straight away, yeah.
Well, it's yours to take home now. OK? And thank you for bringing it in.
Thank you.
You take care now.
Bye-bye.
OK? Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I knew there was a missing salmon. What I wasn't expecting was to see the colours, the hair, the fact that my grandfather was wearing a shirt and tie. And it's all those things and what it means to me. Lots of memories come flooding back, and they are just the best of memories.